Welcome in the Friendlyfire. I'm KingWeirdo121, and today, Jiggy got me in the hot seat.
You see the smile on my face. I can't contain my excitement. It's been a journey, and I feel like we officially, we got our foot in now. So we here, we ready to start moving, you know what I'm saying, keep evolving. But welcome to season number 3 of Friendlyfire. The next 5 guests, I promise y'all, are gonna be phenomenal. And we starting hella strong this time around, okay? We got my boy KingWeirdo in the building. The Justin collaboration. What's good, my boy? How you feeling?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good today.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have him here, y'all. First things first, by the way, happy Mental Health Awareness Month to all of y'all out there, being that this season starts in May. So I hope y'all are all doing well. Hope you guys are sound of mind, taking care of yourself, protecting your mental health and your mental well-being. And with that being said, we got to do our mental health check-in, you know what I'm saying? How are you feeling, bro? How's your mental, you know what I'm saying? Talk to me, what's up?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing pretty good today, actually. I'm actually really excited.
Okay.
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I feel really great today.
Good.
How you doing?
I feel good, bro. I feel like, for me, audience, y'all probably see the bags under my eyes on some of these episodes. So I'll be tired, but today I feel phenomenal, bro. I feel really good. Coming off of a lot of good news too. So it's been a week of, I think personally for me, it's been a week of sort of small wins, right? That lead to feeling good, feeling positive.
Yeah.
So I feel like 100%, bro. I feel 100%, bro.
Yeah.
So I hope y'all all feel the same, man. And if not, hopefully this interview can bring you guys a little bit of happiness, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of joy. But with that being said, real quick, give the people where they can find you. We like to get out the way early. Little bit of a pitch on who you are, you know what I'm saying, what your plans are, kind of the content that you bring to the table. And then feel free to plug the Twitch, obviously, and really anything else you want to go ahead and do. Right.
All right, well, my name is KingWeirdo121, or you could say KingWeirdo121.
21.
I'm a Twitch streamer, variety streamer. I'm also on TikTok, also KingWeirdo121 for both of those. I'm a guy who likes to just have fun. I like to be goofy, I like to be silly, I like to be weird. That's why it's in my name.
Right.
And I have a community where everyone's allowed to be their inner weird self, and sometimes we like to get serious and emotional, other times we just like to have fun. And that's all you can get from my streams.
With that being said, though, you actually touched on it. KingWeirdo. I'm interested, I believe in names, right? Like names kind of tell some stuff. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to know, first and foremost, your origin story, right? Kind of like how'd you start streaming? How'd you get into content creation? All of that good stuff. And then why the Weirdo Kingdom? Like why KingWeirdo? You feel me? Go ahead, bro.
All right, well, first I started when it was during quarantine.
Okay.
I always wanted to get into streaming, but I never really had the time for it. Then everything closed down, we had to stay quarantined, so I was like, this is the perfect time now, Yeah. I've got some money saved up, I could buy a camera, I could, start recording and stuff, and that's all I did. I would just stream, and it would just be that. And then I started meeting new people, and then I, started finding community, and then within that community would be more communities.
Yeah.
And then I kept getting pushed into doing TikTok eventually, and that's where I am now. As for the why I go by the KingWeirdo, why do I have the Kingdom of Weirdness and stuff? Well,
right.
As a kid, I actually used to always be bullied, right? Because I was the weird kid. I was always that weird, goofy child that everyone's like, he's kind of always hyperactive and jumping around and stuff or whatever. And I was like, why should I, because I like to have fun and be goofy, why should I be shunned, So I wanted to have a community of people that could be weird, obviously not, creepy weird, your inner weird self, you're always goofing around and having fun and telling jokes and stuff like that. And I wanted a community of that, and so I thought to myself, well, let me go with KingWeirdo. Before I had a different name, I did not like it at all.
What was your name?
It was
City Boy 121.
It was King Explosion 121.
Okay.
Because I got that from my
milk.
the anime.
Okay.
Where Bakugo was like coming up with his hero name, and I was like, I kind of like that.
Yeah,
but then after a while, I was like, this is kind of cringy, so I wanted to change it to this.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, you want a name that is about you, right?
Yes,
That's
right.
like, that defines who you are as a person. I thought, I've always been called weird, so yeah, I'm gonna keep the king.
There you go.
Let me just go with the weirdo instead of explosion. And I'm gonna keep the 121.
I feel you. I like that a lot. I feel like I'm a weird person too.
Yeah.
And I'm all about like, just being your authentic self, right? Like your genuine self. So I appreciate that your community is welcoming toward that. It's a lot of fun in there. Obviously, everyone's more than welcome to be their weird selves, and I think that's just like a fun kind of time. You know what I mean? So I definitely appreciate you for that. Quick question: you mentioned, if you don't mind me asking, sort of back when you were younger, right, being called a weirdo or whatever, or being a hyperactive kid, like why was that the situation? Because I think like obviously cyberbullying is something nowadays, but back then when you was IRL, there was real bullying too, you know what I'm saying? But you couldn't just turn a laptop off or like a computer off, you know what I'm saying? So where did that come from?
So this was when I got diagnosed with ADHD like really early on, so I was always hyperactive. And there were times where I didn't want to take my medication. Okay. And so I would just, be off the walls, like just weird and stuff. And people would just like look at that and they would just, throw out names and just, they just would exclude me from like doing this. It's like, oh, hey, we're gonna play tag. You can't come. Yeah. And it's, stuff like that. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it got to me, but like, I was also not gonna stop because again, why should I stop being who I am? You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like, I'm gonna be who I am, and it's like, that's it.
Nah, for sure,
Can't hate me for being me, right?
Yeah, nor should you change, you know what I mean? Anyone out there who's feeling that way, I know even in my stream, right? Like, having sort of sometimes younger viewers who come in and mention that they are getting like bullied or something like that, right? Kind of just telling them like, don't change who you are, you know what I'm saying? Be your authentic, genuine self. And I think one of the beautiful things about Twitch is your community will find you, right? You're not trying to reach anyone else other than the people that want to be there. And I think that's a really dope thing too about like that online community, is that you're gonna find other weirdos. You feel me? Like, and that's the way that it should be, So that's definitely dope. And like, what is it like, sort of streaming with ADHD, right? And the reason that I ask, so we had like this work training, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or was it diversity and inclusion training, right? And it was there was one video, and it had no context to it that they showed us, right? And it was sort of an interview, right? So they were doing an interview process for like someone who was interviewing for a job, right? And then they were doing like effects with the camera and the sounds and stuff, right? And it was like sort of this disorienting feeling, right? That they were trying to portray. And I was like, wait, what is going on here? Like, I don't understand. But then all that to be said, that the end of the video was like about, okay, this person has ADHD, right? So sort of, being sensitive toward that, right? Understanding that people deal with certain, situations, right? That you might not be familiar with, but that you should be aware of, right? To sort of be, again, inclusive, you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff. And my question for you is like, streaming with ADHD can be probably hard in certain instances, right? Because you're live, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're obviously, and just like, the difference, like, can you explain from personal experience what that's like?
It's terrible. No, it's interesting. So I don't take medication anymore. Okay. I used to take Adderall for my ADHD. During high school. Once I graduated high school, I stopped taking them. But I will say it is a little challenging a lot of times, because there are times where like I think to myself before I start stream, okay, I'm gonna do this, 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 and this, right? And then I start stream, I hit that go live button, and I'm just like, what was I gonna do first? Okay, like and then sometimes it'll be the reverse. It'll be like, okay, I know everything I need to do, but then while I'm doing it, I'm like, wait, I kind of want to add this in there too. You know what I mean? It'll be like, okay, I'll do like 1, 2, 3, and that's it for the stream. Once I'm on 1, 2, before I get to 3, I'm like, I just thought of 4, 5, and 6 that I want to add into the stream. And I start doing that. And so that can get a little challenging, especially when you're live. I feel like if it's something like, oh, you're like doing YouTube and stuff, I could, edit it out or whatever. But no, like when I'm live at the time, I'm like, okay, how am I gonna do this? And so it can get a little bit challenging. But I think it's better when I'm like recording TikTok, because I'm the most creative and stuff like with that. And so when I'm recording TikToks, I just come up with more ideas for that. I think when it comes to recording, like live, is really hard when it's like with mental health issues. Like when you have like anxiety, like depression, that can get in the way a lot with streaming because you're live. You know, you have to like, and there's like this thing where it's like, no, you have to be perfect and stuff, but like realistically, you can't always be perfect. Yeah. And I think a lot of times what happens is when I hit that go live button, the anxiety starts kicking in. And that's when that really sucks because you like all your fears start piling on top of each other and you're trying to like figure out like, all right, well, like I literally, said I'm about to go live, I'm about to do this, like, how am I gonna do this? Yeah. So it could be very challenging sometimes, especially like when you don't see it coming. Yeah. It just it just creeps behind you. Yeah. It could really get in the way.
I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for being like a mental health advocate and speaking from, someone who speaks from personal experience dealing with those things. I think it's you're someone that all of us can learn from. You know what I mean? Both positively on the side of how creative and funny you are, but also on the side of like I said, being authentic and genuine and real about the shit you deal with. You know what I mean? So I want to thank you for that personally, bro, because that's real, dog. That's real.
I appreciate that.
For sure, bro. For sure. And so on a little bit of a lighter note, so you have it listed on your Twitch and your About Me, because we do our research on this show, okay? I will be making YouTube videos soon. It's going to be comedy sketches mostly, very different from streaming. I just want the scoop, like what's the plans, okay, what are we doing? And also, do you want to take your content in more of that direction? Because like I mentioned with the TikTok, you do a lot of like skits and stuff. Just like what's the deal with that?
All right, so whenever I see like other streamers like on YouTube, I notice a lot of them tend to, make it just about like video games, and that's nothing wrong with that. I love that, that's great. But for me, I've always been like into comedy. Yeah. And so like my idea is I kind of want to like make YouTube skits. Okay. Like just like comedy. And I am planning on releasing them eventually. Okay. But we were talking about this before, like I like to be like a perfectionist. I want to make sure I have everything right and ready before I do. But I've always loved comedy. I've always loved sketches. I always loved how quick people are with current events. And I want to make something just like that.
Like RDC kind of?
Yes, exactly. Just like them. Yeah.
I like that.
And they're on point with their stuff too.
They do the shit before it happens, bro. Like how?
Yeah. And that's kind of like how I want to be.
Okay.
And like with current events, but also just like stuff that I always like have in my mind, and I always like write things down on my notes in my phone. Yeah. Like whenever like I think of an idea, I'm like, I gotta write that down. Yeah. And then like I wake up the next day and I'm like, okay, is it still funny? Like was it as funny as I thought the idea was? Right. And then I look at it and I'm like, I still like it. So now I expand upon it. Yeah. And I keep working on it to to make it how I want it to be.
Not to put you on the spot, do you have an expected timeline for when you want to release your first skit or anything like that?
Most likely next year. Okay. I don't plan it to be this year because I'm not just writing one, I'm writing multiple at once. But it's definitely gonna be like sometime next year. Just not this year.
I feel you. Nah, that's dope. Look out for that, y'all. Look out. I'm sure it's gonna be great. And you said you're a fan of comedy. Who are your favorite comedians?
Favorite comedians? I actually used to like watch Richard Pryor a lot.
Hey, that's the GOAT.
That's the GOAT, man. I used to watch old Eddie Murphy stand-up.
That's classic.
Yeah, I used to watch the Chappelle Show. Not the new Chris Rock stand-ups, but like not that I don't like it, but like I like the old. I love like watching the old time stuff like in the '90s and stuff. So I watched the old Chris Rock stand-up.
Not post him getting slapped.
Yeah. Not
post slap Chris, bro.
Yeah. But I like watching old retro type stand-ups. I like
they no pun intended, they still stand up today. If you know what I mean. Like they definitely still.
But I don't think it's as good. Like I think it could be. Like I think it's like some definitely are, but I think they're just not as good as they used to be.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real with you, okay? So you gotta have a specific appreciation for classics, a comedy of that time, because it's very different, bro. I watched the first episode of the Chappelle Show the other day, and I was like, holy this is like, this would not fly today, fam. Yeah. Like Dave Chappelle was saying some wild shit back then. But obviously it's all in comedy, you know what I'm saying? And comedy evolves as the times evolve, right?
Yeah.
But nah, I feel you on it because I was like, ooh, this is definitely not 2022 comedy. And if it came out in 2022, that shit would not fly.
You know what it is as an artist or like as a person who does like, comedy or whatever it is,
right.
As like you said, as times evolve, as the person you are, you have to know like how to evolve as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people, that were so great back then, some of them don't know how to evolve yet, while others do. And I think that's what's really important. You have to know how to evolve. You look at Jay-Z's list of albums.
Yeah.
As each album goes on, he kept evolving.
Yeah, that's a really good point, bro. And I feel like that's the biggest challenge as a content creator, right? Is the test of time, to be quite honest. Like, regardless of what you do, if you're in a creative avenue, how do you evolve, right? Because eventually people are going to look for something different, right? You're gonna get old at some point, or whatever you're doing is going to get old at some point. It might last a little bit longer, right? In certain ways, and it depending on what you're doing. But that's a really good point, bro, because you gotta find new gigs and find new jokes or find new games, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's hard. It's hard to do that. That's truly the test, I think, of the greats, like you mentioned. How do you continue to evolve? You know what I mean? You're training for a marathon. My boy looking like a schnack today, by the way. Looking fine. Slim, thick with your fine ass, as they say. Oh, man. So, what drives you to that decision? Because that's not a small decision, bro. That's like not something like you say, I'm a extreme fucking Valorant today. That's right. You're training for. That's the other thing. You don't just run a marathon. As you know, you can speak to this. You train for a marathon too, you feel me? So I'm just interested in like why that big commitment, what drove you to that?
So first, when I first started high school, I ran track and cross country.
Distance?
First year, I did sprinting and jumping. Okay. After that, my second year, I tried cross country out. And I liked it. And so I switched up to mid distance for track and field. So I did all through all year. I did 3 sports. It was cross country, indoor track, and then outdoor track. Okay. So once I graduated high school, I kind of got out of running because I was like, well, I'm not really on the team anymore. But I did kind of miss running, and I did want to get back into shape. And so I hit up one of my friends who I used to run with in high school, and I was like, would you be interested in running a marathon with me? Right. And he was like, so when's the marathon? Right. I'm like, all right, cool. So we started training.
That's crazy.
And I hit up Main Beach because she actually ran a marathon. And I asked her, how did you train for this? And she sent me like a bunch of stuff on what she did to train for a marathon. And so...
How has that advice been going?
It's been really good, actually. Yeah? It's been really good. Okay. The marathon is not easy to run. It's 26.2 miles. It's a lot.
I can hardly run 1 mile, bro.
And I run almost every other day. Some days you take a break. Sometimes it's a lot of like miles. So like naturally, every now and then throughout the course of training, your body's gonna like go through stuff. And you have to like know how to heal your body and what to do, like recoveries and stuff.
How far do you feel like you can run right now?
Right now, because it's in October, right now I could run comfortably a good 6 miles before I start breaking down. Like
that's a decent amount though. I'm not gonna hold you. That's pretty good. So you ran track when you were in school. Yeah. You obviously, did it year round as well. And you said you wanted to get back into it. Do you feel like running's a therapeutic thing for you?
Definitely. I think it is because
I hate that shit, bro.
I'll tell you why for me, and everyone's different. But there are times where if let's say I'm not running in the morning, or let's say I'm running later in the day, and let's say I'm having a pretty bad day, right? Yeah. Like everything's just piling up. Like it's a million little things that are just piling up, making your day just feel terrible. Yeah. I can go on a run, and I'll be exhausted. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be exhausted. But like after I'm done, I feel like those problems are like, they're still there, but it's not like in my head, just like, hurting. It's not like, there's not much of a weight left, like that's on me. I feel like the weight is a little bit, lighter.
Yeah, definitely.
And it helps a lot. And then when I take a nice shower, oh my God, it feels great.
That's the payoff. That's the payoff.
It's the shower that you do. Not the running is like, all right, it's the shower that
it's the shower, bro. Oh man, that's funny because we all have those different things, right? That we find that peace or that therapy in, right? That we find therapeutic and cathartic when we're dealing with things. And it's so foreign to me when I hear that people find running cathartic, because I respect it, but for me, I'm like, even if I gotta run a mile in the gym for cardio, I'm literally by like the half mile mark, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm done with this. Let me just go lift. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I respect it, bro. Especially to train for a freaking marathon. That's dope, man. Like, big respects to you, dog.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Damn.
Thank you.
And so this is my last question for you. And I feel like this is a really important one. We wanted to have you on as an episode in May for Mental Health Awareness Month, and being that you are such a big advocate for it, I feel like there's no better mouthpiece, for sort of what that month represents and why, quite frankly, we need to be aware of it. Just sharing a little bit with you beforehand. I have an uncle who's a paranoid schizophrenic, and I know what that's like to deal with that from a family standpoint, right? From a relative standpoint. And it's hard to see someone dealing with that, just being quite authentic with y'all as well. It's all family here, you know what I mean? It's sad to see. And I feel like as opposed to physical illnesses that you can identify a cure for, right? That you can do things for and quote unquote cure yourself. I don't feel like we have that for mental health, right? There's such a lack of understanding around it because it's such a complicated thing. So for me, it is such an important month. It is such an important topic. And I just, honestly, bro, there's not even a question, bro. Just say what you got to say about it, because I feel like, man, like it's just so important,
So I'll be honest, as someone who is Black and Hispanic as well.
Yeah.
In our communities, it's like mental health, like depression and stuff like that. It's like a taboo to them.
Talk about it. Yeah.
It's something that they don't like really talking about. But for me, I'm like, if this is something that's affecting my life, why would I just put it in the back of my head? Like, no, I want to be open about it, you know? And I know in these communities, it's really hard to, like in the Black community and the Hispanic community, it's really hard to open up about that type of stuff.
Yeah. And
especially when it comes to therapy.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at statistics and you look at how many people of color that go through depression or that, have attempted, suicide and stuff. And the numbers are actually not accurate at all.
Right. Okay.
Because so many people, like of color, they don't actually want to admit that they have this. They're not going to. But for me, I've definitely had moments, where I felt like I hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
I felt like moments where like I didn't know if I could see the next day.
Right.
But I've had friends. I feel like if you have people in your back, in your corner, that are always gonna be there for you.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier because they got me to open up to a therapist.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah.
I know like a lot of people in my family, they're like, you go to a therapist? Like, are you crazy?
Right.
I'm like, no, I'm not crazy, but I care about my mental health.
Yeah.
I wanna be alive.
Yeah.
I wanna live to see my 30s and 40s and stuff.
Yep.
And I don't wanna be sad and depressed my whole life. I mean, I am, but like, I wanna at least manage it,
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be uncomfortable at first. When you go see a therapist, it's gonna be uncomfortable because you're talking to someone that you've never met before. You're just talking to them about all your problems, and it's gonna be uncomfortable at first. But I promise you, if you keep going and you keep going, like week after week, month after month, year after year, you're gonna feel so much better because they're gonna help you. And sometimes they might give you medication.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's gonna suck. But it does help you. Over time, it does help you.
Yeah. And
that's really what matters the most.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's it's so true because we've talked about that on the show before, as y'all know. Destigmatizing, especially in the Black and Latinx communities, the stigmas around therapy, that you need to be mentally ill or that you need to have something wrong with you in order to see a therapist, in order to be conscious of your mental health, or for that to even be a consideration. And hopefully, man, this conversation with King and even myself, like, can just inspire some of y'all to really just take a second look. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we're in a different time now, y'all, where we are aware, where there's consciousness around it, and take care of yourselves, man. Seriously, take care of yourselves. You don't need to feel like you're crazy to ask for help, to feel good, like you said, like just to feel good, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing therapy as well, and it's been amazing, it's been helpful, and communication, and like you said, just like having that outlet, man, it's invaluable. Like, you cannot put you can't pinpoint the amount of how much it helps, you know what I'm saying, bro? So I really appreciate you talking about that, because from someone who has dealt with those issues, right, has like very, very materially and like realistically, you know what I'm saying, has dealt with that, man. That's impactful to me. That's impactful to me. You know what I'm saying? And obviously wanted to have you on here because you're an amazing creator, because you're a great person, bro. You're like a brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but like,
I appreciate that.
Also, man, I just feel like we needed somebody to talk about that too. You know what I'm saying? With such an important month at hand here. So, bro, I appreciate you, dog. You're the man. Like, thank you so much for coming through, bro.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? And we about to get this guy. He's about to get thrown in. I'm telling y'all right now. He has no idea what's coming. But we gonna be doing something very different this time around. And season 3, the challenge is only gonna get better. So we'll be right back, y'all. King, thank you so much, bro. And we'll see y'all in a sec. Peace out. Boom. So welcome back, y'all. Today we got a whole different challenge. Never done before. Never ever done outside of the room. Much less we outside. So my boy, you said you're a marathon runner, right?
Yep.
Right. Okay. So we gonna be doing a challenge today. We're gonna race. Me and you are gonna race, okay? But it's not any ordinary race. We're gonna do a speed walking race down this block. We're gonna speed walk from the starting line to the finish, and we're gonna see who wins.
All right.
What do you think?
Right. That sounds.
You ready?
Let's do it. Let's
you ready?
get it.
You know how to speed walk?
Oh, come on
you
now.
You got your tactic on?
Come on now.
Right.
I got this.
All right, let's do it. So we're gonna get to the starting line. We're gonna record the race, and we just gonna see who's the fastest man alive. All right? We'll be
fastest
right back.
walker alive. Y'all, you already saw it. I told y'all, I didn't come here to hand out W's. I came here to hand out L's. Olympic speed running champion, OT Jiggy, 2 and 2. King, what you gotta say for yourself, bro? I'm a runner, not a walker.
I feel you on that. Look, he could definitely take me out in any kind of sprint, probably, like marathons, you got me. But I had to show him what it was on the feet, today? Yeah. My boy. Peace.